Welcome to today's topic, the third wheel. We're not sure what to call this Appy hour. Now, why is that the case? Well, mods, small groups. Have you names for these things? What do we call them? Well, little activities, those movements, those rotations. Oh, this one. If you have any other ideas, throw them in the chat right now. You can send to everybody by making sure it says all participants in the chat. I've heard them as rotations. Any names we call these guys? Stage more of a high school term. Center's a little more focused. We've all got a name for them. We all know what they're talking about, and we all know it's that smaller rotation. So how do you make centers and stations and mods and that independence, that flexibility, come to life for you? And that's where the third wheel comes in, because some of the tricks I show you today are that third wheel that make it possible for you to run a classroom with student independence, with centers. You need your hand. Well, Google Apps for EDU is going to give you their hand. I'm going to show you how. If you and you like it, I'm going to ask you to give me an emoticon in the chat. Organizing instruction. Then we have a scaffold instruction with courses, then forms, and then apps. So we kind of have one big topic, but 3 chunks as we go. Instruction. We'll talk about the third wheel, and here's some of those wheels, right? In classroom design, whether it be 45 minutes, 15 minutes, 9 or more, there's always some content, some time to reflect and digest and practice. It could be direct instruction. This is what I need to tell you. I need you to interact and talk about it with me, with your peers, with each other, with yourself, and then you need time to practice. Today, whether we're showing it with forms, whether we're showing it with apps, or whether we're showing you with it with a pre-course, or a way of turning into thirds your classroom. And what we hope to do, what we show you, is how this direct instruction piece can be pushed to the Chrome or the Google Apps for EDU so that you have more time to digest the information and help them process before you send them to independent practice. And myself, please feel free to throw in as well for yourself that I know it was really difficult to go to a rotation-style classroom as a former high school teacher. Because I knew I could get direct instruction to a small group, and my kids would independent practice. But if I tried to set them independently to discuss, that was really tough. And if I took the time to independently discuss while I practiced, the direct instruction suffered. So the idea behind the third wheel is that we pick one of these areas and we are able to build something that does that well for students so that I, as a teacher, can focus on the discussion and the kids can still do independent practice. Is with courses. Now, I'm actually going to shift my screen for just a smidge. It's going to go real fast for you. And I think that was pretty cool. And for just a sec, courses that are being built this way. What do we mean when we say course? These are pre-made, professional, done in many cases, experiences your students go through. And we've taken some time through a little project we ran this summer to build independent courses that match MCPS curriculum. So some of these are elementary level, so I know we have elementary here. Some of these are high school. I didn't ask. I saw I think speech therapy, but if throw in what you teach at the high school level, I'd because then I can talk directly to some of these courses. They're built based on our curriculum. The scripts were written by MCPS teachers, and we've put into action. One of these fun ones right here, very timely, is Ink Advantage. Now this link that I'm showing you is also found in the chat. What does it look like? Well, they come in and say hello.
Incumbent Advantage. If you'd like, make a copy of the notes guide to support your learning as you continue. It asks, make sure to share this notes guide with them.
It gives directions to students. They have a note guide. And then
there's a paradox about Congress. Hate Congress. But you know, they love their representative. You won't believe what people like better than Congress.
Students can click.
Can you believe it? Cockroaches, traffic jams, and root canals are more popular than Congress as a whole. Even though
So what are courses? They can be professionally made. MCPS makes some as well. It's an experience that leads your students completely through to learn. It gives them a check for understanding at the end, where they were right or wrong, and it takes that first bubble, that direct content, out of your hands and puts it into the course. Then the instructor can have the second focus being with you in discussion. A variety of these ones, and we're always looking for more suggestions of which ones we should do first. And not just at the high school level and middle school level. We've also made a number of them for the elementary level, like this one on, I believe I clicked academic language. But it is a academic language show. I'm going to make myself get quiet here. What's nice about them, and when you're selecting these, because there's tons of pre-made ones out here, is you want to find options that give students good feedback. You want to find ones that match your indicators, and ones that give students a chance to experience and not just follow along and watch the video. You want to find things that give them a chance to try it out. So it explains great topics, but they also get to a point where they have to do a little bit of work as well. When you're looking to be able to have that third wheel, is look for professionally made or MCPS made courses that help explain the concepts to students that match our curriculum and that have opportunities for them to trade out if they need to. If you have questions on that, throw them in the chat. If you don't, go ahead and give me a smiley face. Now, okay, so that was kind of my end. Those neat courses, they were written by teachers, and then my office put them into action making them. You might find really cool ones that are online that work for your curriculum, and you might not. So you want a lower tech way to be able to do some very similar stuff? Well, you can scaffold that instruction with forms. Now, if you've used forms in the chat, give me a yes, a yay. If you haven't, that's okay. And I'm going to take you right now. As you teach Foundations of Technology, fantastic. I'm going to take you and show you forms and show you an example. Here to make, it's not like the full courses that are kind of high end, that allow you this information fairly simply yourself. Now the first with teachers, we actually did it at Blake School. We did it for a law class, actually law. It was on public defenders and part of a legal process, right, the criminal legal process. The example I'm showing you right here is actually from my philosophy class this past summer. And when I did a Google form, and embed videos. And watch the video, in this case on Confucius, which is delightful theme music. And then they had to, now you can imagine, I could have shown this on a big screen, we all could have watched together, but instead they got to go at their own pace. They watched the video, they went backwards and forwards, they could see full screen if they wanted to, and then they had to rate how strongly they identified with the theory and made it in their notes. we're done with one, they press continue. And here we are. Nietzsche, what philosophy course isn't perfect without a little Nietzsche thrown in? Again, they got to watch the video. Process. You to very simply embed YouTube videos students can watch and then answer questions on them. It's not complicated, but it's pretty intensive. They really do go through and explore 6 or 7 different theories. But you could have one video and a series of questions, 2 videos and a series of questions. It allows for self-pacing for your students. They get what they need. They enter that information. Even better is I had all of these actually go into a big document where my students all saw each other's answers and were able to compare. So not only did they have an individual experience of judging, they were able to go back and look at everybody's work and make another conclusion based on their peers' work. Do this. You might be sitting here thinking, I seriously need to do this now. Well, I'm going to form. Next one, new form. Be familiar with well, I'm actually going to take you to try new Google Forms to do this in the new Google Forms. It's coming, so it seems like a pretty good idea. If anybody has any questions as we go along, or ideas or thoughts, you can throw them in the chat. But here's my forms. I can give it a name. And I have a multiple choice question. Well, I don't really want a multiple choice question here. We're going to change it to short answer and say name. The first question you always want is name of student. It's always what you want. And now I want to add a new question. Well, this may look different to you if you're used to old forms, but apply here would add a new question. I throw my mouse. I want to add a video. It's right here. What do you want to do? I want to add a video. I search or look for a nice URL to paste in here. So I just did a search and then I click, oh, this one looks fun. What is a pulley? I search and we watch. Watch this. Now that I have it in, I have my nice little question. I'm good to go. Appy. I'm able to add another question afterwards, which might be find a pulley. And we'll, of course, want to make that one sure. And more question in here about pulleys. Multiple choice. I love scale. So can I come down? Scale is wonderful because it allows for a judgment. Useful. They need spell checking, as you see me spell check right there, but they're wonderful as a rating system. Three-question quiz. Fun about new forms is you have your questions, and it's really easy to get to the data of the responses. So here I am at my nice little handy form here, which I'm going to call Pulleys Hour. So where it is, I'm at my form. I have my questions. I'm actually going to throw it right here in the chat for the chat. Press send. Up and press copy to the chat. It's me. You can open up a new window or need to open up a window. Just click on that link, and our new form. Whoops! Actually, I don't think I got a copy of that. So that was a little fast on the thing. It didn't keep up with me. We were too fast for Google for a second. I'm back to my send. Look for my link right here. Shorten it. Copy it. There we go. Now, when I throw it in the chat, yeah. to form and take it. So I'm a student. I come in and write my name, Carrie. I define fully school thing, and I think they are totally wonderfully useful. And I it several times because we'll do Bob here. Submit. Found to be particularly fun. In new forms that have questions and responses, it's so easy to see your data. It's so easy to see it laid out right here. You can see your questions and edit them, and you can do your responses all right here from the page. And see how it would take you, if you know where your video is, and that's the hardest part, right? Always finding the good content. You could frame a YouTube video right without all that other YouTube stuff around it and have it be right here for your students to watch and then answer some reflective questions. Then you can see all the data together. We'll see it in a spreadsheet. Or all the data right here in a spreadsheet for you to organize and work with and use it at your leisure. The button, if you missed it, was right here. It looks like a little odd plus, but if you look at it, they're trying to make an image that looks like a spreadsheet. And if you put your mouse over it, it will expand for you. So you can use old forms to embed videos. They both do it. And as you can see from new forms, it has some really handy, useful things like responses, questions, and ease with which you actually can update and edit your work. Any questions, throw them in the chat. If you don't, give me. And we jump to the next one. Another example is this little one on conformity and deviance out of Magruder High School. And I love this as just such a simple, clean way to scaffold students' work. They come over, they look at the executions, and we ask them questions. And really cool here, this is just an animated GIF. But much work or explanation on your part, students will get a very clear point of view, are able to make a judgment for themselves and justify it, and simply send that information on. They have work to do independently, teaches to something higher order, doesn't take a whole lot of time to create, really thinking gets embedded into it. So that's how you can use forms to scaffold that third wheel. If you don't have a professionally made course, if one of our courses isn't working for you, so if that's, it's not your content area, you're not doing academic language division right now, you can make your own small courses, use scaffolding instruction with forms. And then new forms does have a change to it, but that's okay. Once you hop in there, there's a ton of support materials on the web that will help you with it. Plus, of course, we're going to link in the chat for you. Think of this as the recipe. If you're watching this as a cooking TV show, they would say, here's the recipe for that awesome thing you just saw. I'm going to throw in this link right here to Alice Keir's Teacher Tech blog, which has wonderful support on how to use the new forms, especially for you guys out there that have been transitioning from the old to the new. Third piece there is scaffolding instruction with apps. So you don't have a course for you, and you're not sure if I want to make a form maybe that doesn't really fit the mode that you were jumping for right there. You can also use some really cool apps to do so. And the first app I'm going to show you is actually going to be EduPuzzle. Change for a quick sec. I'm going to puzzle and log in with Google. One of my highest, hey, Carrie, how do you pick what apps you like? I love apps that let me log in with Google. Just easy, right? Now, what does EduPuzzle do? Well, this is a video just pulled off of YouTube. So we're back to YouTube again, and can click to play. And starts to scooch forward. All this stuff is great information, great information. I'm going to play more.
Superhighway confidently and safely. It's important because the media environment our kids are growing up in is new and different from anything any of us have ever experienced before. With rules of the road literally being written as we speak.
All right, so we're watching.
This global community offers.
And, oops, pause, right? We get to a certain point in the video, and you as the instructor puts in the question, right? How many times have you ever saw, like, that was like the best YouTube video, but I wanted them to stop and think. It's what we do as teachers. We know when to stop and make them think. Well, what EduPuzzle does is allows you as a teacher to come in and add questions. So how does digital citizenship help navigate the instruction highway? It does it safe and quickly. And then do it right, it says, hey, rewatch. You did it correctly, or it gives you some feedback, too. So I didn't do it right, I got to go back to the beginning.
CyberWise Guide.
I should probably listen a little bit more, right?
For students and their parents.
Oh, I got the point. Who needs to learn digital literacy? Well, I know that one. Everybody. That was correct. Yay, me.
Experts agree that the road to digital.
So what EduPuzzle does for you, it allows you to be able to get in this case, I'm just watching one that was already made by a colleague of mine, but I can create one. I can continue the video. Students can log in and see the videos that are queued up for them, so they're able to come in and see those they need to watch. They know where the main login location is. It's super simple, just like Classroom. Your last code that you can log yourself in, and you can make your own class. I'm in the chat. Give me a smile face. And this is actually, let me make sure I get my login. If you were like, hey, I want to go back to it, I threw it in the chat. That will shift you over, and we're going to do another really cool app, particularly for math folks out there, called Row. Mathematics app. It allows you to log in again with that login. Oops, hello. You have for each account, your students can log in, and they do individual practice reports. There's group lessons you can assign to students. So this is your third hand. You know, there's just the third wheel right here. I want to do third grade math. I want to do this activity. I can assign it to kids. And as kids move through, there's data on how they're doing, where they're progressing, and what you would recommend they need to learn and what they can do next. You want to be careful and thoughtful when you choose to use an outside application for student practice. Always a best practice to let parents know which tools you're using. They like to see it as well. But as outside of MCPS Go, Front Row gets a lot of traction within our mathematics community as an independent place for students to go in. Keep some of the content is free, and some of it is paid. But you'll find the free content is really cool, and you can get a lot of bang for your no bucks using it. If you're on Front Row, go ahead and throw them in the chat. If you don't, we're good. Three different pieces, and we called it the third wheel, right? The first was finding independent professional or MCPS-made courses to walk your students through. The second is make your own courses using forms. Find really cool or make really cool YouTube videos, put them in a forms frame, and the third is to find an app that works for you. We pointed out two. One, you can make really cool interactive experiences using EduPuzzle. And two, you can use Front Row, which of course I should throw in the chat for you as well. These allow your students to explore their own pace and discover, giving you that third hand in the classroom so that you can, hey, maybe when they're finished, sit down and do a small group discussion before moving them to independent practice. third wheel. And we were really wondering, did you like the name? Did you think it was a good one? Or do you have a better one out there? If you have a thought, go ahead and throw that in the chat right now. And I'm going to also let you know that there's more support out there. Are you thinking about using Edpuzzle and might want a quick hand, looking for some advice, some thoughts? Maybe you have a really cool idea for an independent course we could help you make. Know that you can contact your instructional technology specialist with this cool stuff. We do our Appy hours bi-weekly, so please join us again. And know that you can get to all of our recorded Appy hours online at our Appy site. And I'm going to throw that chat in there. If you liked this one, hey, you're going to love our Appy hours. You love them, so go ahead and make sure to check that out on our site. And keep on connecting cool apps with Rockstar Instruction. If you think of something cool, if you really put one of these ideas into action, if you have some thoughts for us, please don't hesitate to share. You can always tweet them at me, Carrie D. Booth, and also send an email. We love to hear from you. And I also love to hear that you love the name. You know what? Everybody needs a third wheel in the classroom. You need that third hand, and we hope we've given you some really cool ways to do that in your classroom. Thanks, Eddie, for coming. Which turned out to be an Appy half hour. Half an hour more to go explore.